work.
We stay connected with video calls and messages. Merry Christmas.
On behalf of the technical crew, we wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Merry Christmas, and here we are, job continues.
In a world where truth is the ultimate power and opinions scream the loudest, it's time to wade through the noise.
Hunger no get tribe! Hunger no get religion!
And scan the human interest and trending topics that matter. Stay tuned to The Issues, your plug to the stories making the buzz, from politics to science and technology, social justice, and more. Let's tackle the tough questions and expose the truth. The Issues on Voice of the People Television, Mondays to Fridays, 8 to 9 p.m. The Issues. Don't just react, understand.
Welcome to the locker room, the home of football talk that matters. I am Jerry Apelon. Join us every weekday, Monday to Friday at 5 p.m. Nigerian time, as we share the hot takes and hot debates in the exciting world of football. And joining me are the usual suspects, Ikechukwu and Mayowa, as we break down all the hot takes and everything that's happening in the football. Don't just watch football, live it with us. Catch us on the locker room and Voice of the People television at 5 p.m. Nigerian time. And like I always say, if not 20 minutes off, with the sport.
This is African News on Voice of the People television, where we don't just bring you the news, we bring you Africa's heartbeats, the policies that shapes our world, and the economy that determines our future. African News on Voice of the People television. Stay with us.
In a world where power shifts with every headlines, news breaks and events happens, we bring you unbiased and explicit information on politics, economy, and state of the nation. We break down the chaos. Facts, not fluff. Truth, not spin. We discuss not just politics, but a glimpse into the future. Voice of the People television. Now you have more than a voice.
VOP TV. Now you have more than a voice.
Hello and welcome to the Midday News and Voice of the People television. I am Chioma Innocent. Before we begin the news, kindly visit our website. It's www.vop.ng for fresh and trending news. First, the headlines. Tinubu explains January 1 insistence for tax laws take off. Federal government assures not to debit citizens' bank accounts under new tax laws. NANS plans January 14 protest, demands FIRS chair's sack. Police fought Army's claim on Borno's suicide bombing. ADC says Obi's ADC defection in Enugu strategic for 2027. Obaseki family backs Pedro's legal action over assault. In business, CBN projects $51 billion external reserves in 2026. In sports, road NBF NSC Console Joshua mourn Lagos Ibadan crash victims. And in the world of entertainment, curators hail Enugu Yam Festival as African heritage spectacle. Now the news in detail. President Bola Tinubu says the new tax reforms represent a historic reset of Nigeria's fiscal architecture and not an attempt to impose higher taxes on citizens. Against this background, he reaffirmed that the takeoff date is sacrosanct, stating that it was too late in the day to stop the law because 2 of the 4 tax laws were already operational and that the remaining 2 would begin tomorrow. In a statement personally signed by him, he described the tax reforms as a once-in-a-generation opportunity to build a fair, competitive and robust fiscal foundation for Nigeria, insisting that the implementation phase would proceed as scheduled in spite of the public controversy. According to the president, the new tax laws, including those that took effect on June 26, 2025, and the remaining acts scheduled to commence on January 1, 2026, will continue as planned. He emphasized that the reforms were not revenue-hunting measures, but a deliberate effort to harmonize Nigeria's fragmented tax system, reduce duplication across tiers of government, and strengthen trust between citizens and the state. Meanwhile, the federal government has reassured Nigerians that the new tax reforms does not include automatic debits on personal bank accounts, adding that individuals do not need to provide explanations for transfers. Allaying some implementation fears, Chairman of the Presidential Committee on Fiscal Policy and Tax Reforms, Taiwo Oyedele, explained that nobody's account will be debited for any amount transferred. Oyedele, who spoke during a local television program, said the new tax system simplifies reporting and ensures fair taxation for small businesses without burdening the vulnerable. According to him, people know what constitutes their income and what does not, and they are expected to tell the government their income and the tax. He added that if one is exempted, it should be so declared. In the meantime, the National Association of Nigerian Students, NANS, has announced January 14, 2026 as a National Day of Action at the Presidential Villa Gate against the implementation of the now controversial tax reform laws. In a statement by the NANS National President, Olushola Oladoja, the body described the presidency's insistence on the scheduled implementation as a grave insult to Nigerians. It warned the government that there can be no government without the governed, and that while power may reside in offices, the power of the people is always greater than the people in power. Meanwhile, NANS has demanded the immediate sack of the chairman of the Federal Inland Revenue Service, FIRS, Zach Adedeji, over what it described as gross incompetence, poor performance and total failure, especially in the design, execution, and public enlightenment about the tax reform law ahead of its takeoff on January 1, 2026. It accused the FIRS leadership of failing to adequately engage critical stakeholders, particularly students and other vulnerable groups, before rolling out the reforms. Meanwhile, Nigerians are calling for an investigation into the controversy surrounding the recently enacted tax laws amid claims that the versions released to the public differ from those approved by the National Assembly. Those who spoke with correspondent Rhoda Johnny say a transparent probe would help build public trust and confidence in the country's tax system.
They have shared varied opinions following allegations that newly enacted tax laws were altered after being approved by the National Assembly. Some people expressed concern over the discrepancies between the versions filed by lawmakers and the copies officially published. They said the laws should be suspended pending a thorough investigation to ensure transparency and maintain public trust.
As a Nigerian, I condemn both of their suggestions. And whatever the presidency is looking at from different angles, why the House of Assembly is looking at, but we don't have an integrated National Assembly. What I mean is that they are not unified. Because if we are to be a place where we have a cohesive National Assembly, we won't be having all these type of things that we're having. Because this is democracy. We need what will benefit both the rich and the poor. I will advise both parties to go back to the drawing board and look for a law that will be suitable to the people. That's my advice to them.
Others, however, believe that halting the implementation could disrupt government revenue and that the matter should be resolved without delay.
It's my opinion that the implementation of this act should be delayed while the public is still interrogating the act and based on the concerns expressed in public. And by citizens, there is an obligation on every citizen to pay tax in an ideal society where things work. But of course, we know that in our state, that's in our country, there's always a problem of trust. And our economy in the last year has been very, very unpredictable. And I don't think this is the best time for the government to come up with tax reforms. It's not a good time at all.
Many residents are now urging the government to properly investigate the allegations and provide clarity, saying swift action is necessary to restore confidence in the tax system. In Benin, Rhoda Johnny, VOP TV News.
In a similar development, some Nigerians told Oyindamola Olukoton that the tax laws should be suspended pending clarification, while others said they should remain enforced to maintain order and accountability.
In Nigeria has generated heated debate across the country, with allegations of alteration in tax regulation, raising questions on whether the law should be suspended or enforced. To get the views of Nigerians, Voice of the People TV took to the streets of Lagos to get people's reaction.
Let it commence first, so from there we know what the government have in plan for us.
I'm not paying tithes in this Nigeria. The money where they thief for this country to another foreign country that they discover for America, why they not return and come to Nigeria?
It's a good idea, but the problem there is if only our government can be accountable for every tax that we pay, because already we've not we previously used to pay tax, but they are not giving us account of how they spend the money.
I don't think, because I don't see the benefits. There are a lot of problems in Nigeria. Why are they facing on this? There are a lot of things. There's the bandits, there's corruption, there are a lot of things. Them putting tax, we are not benefiting anything from. I don't even know what is the use of the tax they are removing from our bank.
Now we want to start paying tax. Yeah, so basic amenities should be provided for us any day, anytime. Like as you can see, no lights, no water, no good hospital facilities to take care of people, you know. So if we start paying tax, they should assure us that, okay, paying the tax, all these things will start getting it.
What we do by then is that we can then come out and protest against it in a peaceful way, not in and that will cause any form of violence.
The increments in goods and everything, now they want to remove money from our bank accounts. That's really bad.
You're not paying tithes.
The divergent opinions on the street show that Nigerians are divided on the tax issue, reflecting the broader concern over governance, fairness, and accountability.
Many thanks to Rhoda Johnny and Oyindamola Olukoton for that report. Now, away from that, the Nigerian army says its troops killed 47 terrorists, rescued over 30 kidnapped victims, and arrested 19 criminal suspects across several theaters of operations within the last 72 hours. In a statement, the army listed the major operational successes by its operatives to include the recovery of a cache of arms, ammunition, and other logistics. It noted that the coordinated land and air operations underscore the Army's sustained offensive against terrorists, bandits, kidnappers, and other criminal elements threatening national security. According to the statement, the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Waidi Shaibu, has continued to emphasize intelligence-driven, joint and people-centric operations aimed at protecting lives, property, and critical national assets. Meanwhile, the Borno State Police Command has refuted as misinformation the claims that the Nigerian army arrested a suspected suicide bomber in the state, insisting rather that the operation was carried out by the police and that no active improvised explosive device was recovered. According to the police public relations officer of the Borno State Police Command, Nahum Daso, he said the suspect was arrested by the police and was currently in police custody, adding that it was a police operation and the items recovered from him were not IEDs. A statement by the Media and Information Officer of the Joint Task Force Northeast Operation Hadinkai, Lieutenant Colonel Sani Uba, had disclosed that the troops arrested a suspected suicide bomber in Borno State identified as Abubakar Mustafa. It stated that the suspect was arrested on Monday by troops of the 152 Task Force Battalion in collaboration with other security agencies in Bama Local Council of the state, and that preliminary investigations revealed him to be in possession of additional incriminating materials linked to terrorist activities, amongst others. In another development, the People's Democratic Party, PDP, has accused the federal government of forcing opposition governors and politicians into joining the ruling All Progressives Congress, APC, by marginalizing them. Speaking during a local television program, PDP spokesman Ini Ememobong noted that all the governors who have defected, especially from the PDP, say they were connecting to the center to enable them take the benefits back home. According to him, this indicates the inability of the federal government to run an egalitarian system while also showing nepotism by running a system based on which party one belongs to. Still on politics, leader of the obedience movement, Dr. Yunusa Tanko, says presidential candidate of the Labour Party in 2023, Peter Obi, chose Enugu State for his formal defection to the African Democratic Congress, ADC, today because the Southeast wants to make a statement that will shake the 2027 polls. He explained that leaders and members of the obedient movement who bolstered Obi's presidential push in 2023 were already in Enugu for the defection, adding that Obi had been a member of the ADC coalition all the while. According to Tanko, Enugu is the historical capital of the Southeast, and his choice of the zone adds historical solidity when the East wants to make a statement. He added that today's event is to chart the way forward for Obi's numerous supporters. In the meantime, Abia State Governor Alex Oti has ruled out defecting from the Labour Party in spite of plans by the party's 2023 presidential candidate Peter Obi to leave the platform. Oti, during his monthly media briefing in Umuahia, the Abia State capital, said he had decided to remain in the Labour Party to help rebuild and reposition it. He disclosed that Obi had personally informed him of his intention to exit the party and that he had no objection to the decision, but emphasized that his own political path would be different. You're still watching the Midday News and Voice of the People television. We're now being joined by legal luminary, Barrister Darlington Agomo, for the news analysis segment today. How are you doing, sir? Welcome, and thank you for joining us.
Yeah, Shama, how is the day going?
Well, it's going, and that's what's important. We're slowly inching towards 2026. How do you feel about 2025 as a whole? We literally had almost 5 stories on the tax laws. Many Nigerians are waiting with bated breath to see what it will portend for them in 2026. Already, just like in the time of COVID and in the time of Ebola, different misinformation already flying about on social media where people are saying, oh, if you put the right narration, you won't be taxed. If you do this, you evade the tax. If you do that, you won't be taxed. How does that make you feel about 2025 and going into 2026, knowing that in less than 24 hours, that law will come into effect?
The law itself is defective because we have an existing tax law. And my take is that if the existing tax law is properly utilized, we don't need a new one. All this harmonization, smuggling and all that. These are things that they are using to confuse the gullible Nigerians. There is an existing tax law. All you need. Why not properly manage the taxes you are collecting? That is what you owe Nigerians. Because there is no guarantee that this thing you are doing now will make the economy to be buoyant. No, it cannot. Because you remove a subsidy. And you told us when you were doing it that with the removal, we don't need to borrow money. That in fact, we have more money than we need to champion our infrastructural deficit and all that. These are the things they promised us with the subsidy removal. So what happened to that? Nobody have explained to us. Nobody. As if that is not enough. NNPC, which is the cash cow of Nigeria, what is coming out from there is sordid story, embarrassing story of corruption, story of money disappearing and missing. You did not tidy it up. And for that reason, we are looking for 210 trillion naira. You have not explained to us what happened to that money. with all these things, for God's sake? What is the guarantee that this your tax law or your tax policy will bring a succor to Nigerians? Tell me. Is it not people that are working that you are going to tax? With the 40% unemployment, is it not companies that are working, companies that are doing business, companies that are existing, that you are going to collect tax from? So, these other companies that have left Nigeria, and these other businesses that are closed down, how are you going to collect tax from them? These are questions that you need to answer us. It is only when these things are done properly we can say, okay, yeah, at least, okay, there is the forced policy and all that. They have been properly managed. So, in fact, you won't even tell people, they will surrender the tax on their own. They will beg you to come and collect the tax. But when all these things are happening and you have not explained to us, bearing in mind what happened in Lagos State here when Alpha Beta came, the same tax. Alpha Beta was created to collect tax for Lagos State. What happened to that company? It became so bad that the managing director of that company had to carry their file and drop it with EFCC. Apparently, he is tired of committing fraud. That man told us that they have over 100 billion naira of taxes that they have not paid. The managing director of Alpha Beta. And because they wanted to kill him, he ran away from Nigeria. This has happened and nobody have explained to us nothing. And you want to collect tax by fire, by force. Please, for God's sake, the money you have been borrowing, of what did you put it into? Because you are talking of money and that tax is money. So if all this money that are already in place, you have not managed it well, what is the guarantee that you are going to manage the tax money very well? That is my worry here. These are genuine concerns that any rational Nigerian should be asking questions for. If these things that we have pointed out, you have not addressed it, what is the guarantee that this tax you are going to manage it well? There is no guarantee. There is no guarantee. That is the truth. And that's why some of us are asking questions. Address those questions. Address it. The 210 trillion naira, where is it? In fact, if they can recover that money, we don't need to pay tax like some other nations. Saudi Arabia people, they don't pay tax. It's on record. Is it not the same oil money that they are using to better the life of their people? So what are you telling me here? Recover that money. It happened under your APC government. So where is it? 210 trillion is a big money, for God's sake. Nigerians should rise up and ask for that money. That's what I'm saying. It is not a rumor. It is not propaganda. It's not gossip.
Already, Nigerians are rising up to say they will not be standing for the new tax laws. The National Association of Nigerian Students are saying that they will declare a national day of action to take place on January 14. In fact, they are also demanding, right? They are demanding for the sack of FIRS Chairman Zach Adedeji, saying he did not interface with them. He did not give Nigerians the right orientation for them to really understand what the tax laws are about. Would you also be calling for the sack of the FIRS Chairman?
In fact, not only his side, they should probe him. Because he has not managed our tax system very well. They should probe him. Because we saw what happened when the people in NNPC were probed. They started resigning by force. Some resigning, some now agree that yes, so certain money and all that. So they should probe him before they will now punish him. I don't understand this idea of you see that somebody has stolen money. Instead of you to ask him to return the money and then prosecute you, you say you should go. So you should go and enjoy this loot, Abi. That is the meaning. As for Nance is no longer Nance. They are just speaking so that somebody will call them and say, please don't do that thing. Come, what do you want? That's the only thing Nance is represent. They no longer represent the Nigerian students in the university. They don't. They are this. What we have now is political Nance. If they are the Nance of 70s of Ali must go, Nigerian government will not be doing most of the things they are doing, especially in the educational sector. So I'm not even interested in what they are saying because I know it will never happen. It will never happen. In the first place, they are not together. They are not united. The moment they want to carry out as now, we take a different position. Yes, they are not united. We have an APC Nance. And we have the other opposition now. So which one is going to do the protest?
Which one is going to do the protest, you ask? Anyway, let us move on to the PDP accusing the federal government of forcing governors and others into APC with the threat of marginalization. The APC says the federal government, the APC, they are forcing opposition governors, opposition politicians into joining the ruling party by marginalizing them. Now, they came to this conclusion after PDP spokesman says anytime governors defect and they are asked, they said they want to connect to the center to enable them to take the benefits back home. Does that mean that you cannot be in your own political party and connect to the center? Does that mean if you're in a different political party, whatever is largesse is being shared at the center will not get to you and your people?
It means that there are extra money these people that are defecting are collecting. So everybody wants to go and collect it. That is just the simple truth. It means that they are being induced to defect from what they are saying now. Because I don't see this idea of connecting to the center so that you collect what? Is it not a fact allocation that you are giving, like every other person? So how is that connecting to the center? You mean if you did not defect, they will not give you your fact allocation or what? There is no sense in what they are saying. Except that they are being induced to defect, except that they want to go and hide under APC to cover for the atrocity they have committed in office. They are defecting into APC so that EFCC will not come after them. Forget it. Malami, the former Attorney General, who did not defect to APC, don't you see what he's going through today? Ordinary bail, they cannot grant him. Meanwhile, the offense is the available offense. Can you imagine, Chioma? The offense is the available offense. Remember that yesterday we discussed that matter here as what happened in Uganda. Remember? Good. You can see. Just like what happened in Uganda. It is at the whims and caprices of the judge, whether you are a politically involved judge. Then if the politician is using the judge to deal with you, at that point the law is no longer effective. It is now what the judge wants, not what the law says. And that was why those lawyers in Uganda are resisting. Because ordinarily, whatever they are talking in that Uganda is the available offense under the law. But look at what they are doing there. The same thing that's happened to Malami here. A bailable offense is no longer bailable because you are not in our party. Ah, God Almighty. Nigeria, we heard you.
Are we hailing Nigeria or are we hailing the ruling party? Some would say that this is what politicking is about, though. You try to get more people on your side when you know that the majority carries the vote. Even in the Nigerian legislature right now, in the upper and lower chambers, National Assembly and the House of Reps, we see the APC having more people, right? This makes it easier for them to pass laws that actually benefit them, benefit their people. So some will say this is politicking and that the opposition should also step up and politic as much as the APC is politicking. Would you want to blame the APC for doing everything that they can to ensure that they retain power since they are the party in power? Recall that the PDP was in power for 16 years and they were even aiming for 60 years. The APC has been in power for about 10 years now. So if they're trying to retain power as much as they can, some Nigerians would want to actually blame the politicians and governors who are moving, saying they're doing so because of greed. Because even after they move, they still do not attract this development that they say they want to get for their people. So why blame the party and not the people?
Now, those who started this idea of democracy, they put checks and balances to avoid what? Power being in the hands of one man. That is why it is said that power corrupts. Absolute power corrupts absolutely. The moment one man collects all the power from the executive, from the judiciary, from the legislature, it is all over. It is all over. The man will aspire to do anything. In fact, he will aspire to remain tight in office because who is going to challenge him? He has all the power. That is why you will never hear this type of nonsense in the Western world. It can never, you can't dream of it. You can see why Africa is not moving forward. Where do you see this type of thing happening? Is it not in Africa? Donald Trump, with all the power he has in America, he can't even try this. He dare not. If his own party that will impeach him the following day. You can see why Africa is not moving forward. When one man gets into office, he wants to remain there and start playing God. Start acting like a God. Destroying all the democratic tenets in place in the book. He destroyed them, making sure that things don't work. Richard Nixon was forced to resign in office in 1974. Because of what? He was just eavesdropping. Eavesdropping. Wiretapping an opponent, too. That's all. Just doing that alone cost him his second time in office. That is the Watergate scandal. Go and read. It's there in the internet. Go and read, look at it. You are not allowed to do anything to hamstrung any democratic principle in place. You dare not. There must be a level playing field, free and fair election. You are not expected to go and do anything to even use your position to corrupt the system. You will be charged for it. But here, in Africa, the man in power can do anything. In fact, on the day of election, he will gather all the opposition and put them in prison. After the election, when he has won, he will not release them. So, man, that is your Africa. That is what is happening here. And tomorrow, when the white man call you a disgraced nation, you say, why are they insulting us? Tell me any democratic nation where this type of nonsense is happening and everybody kept quiet. Tell me. Donald Trump, with all the power he has, cannot try this nonsense. He cannot even dream of it. But it's happening in Black Africa. And people are calling themselves human beings. That is, even animals in the bush cannot behave the way some African leaders behave.
Unfortunately,
not because they are in power.
Unfortunately, we'll go back to the issue. You remember, you remember the conversation you and I had? I think it was during the midday news on Monday, right? And I asked you what we could do better in 2026. Oh. And you said the president should step aside and hand over the country to somebody that will fix it.
Yes.
Kind of like an Obioma Taylor, right?
Yes.
That will try to sue the country back.
I'm telling you.
For like a year. And then he can return and continue from where the person stopped. And it was a questioning back and forth, almost devolved into a mild argument.
Yes.
Now, some Nigerians were not very happy about that because, you know, some of them felt like I was being myopic with the kind of questions that I was asking. But at the end of the day, it involves the lives of the people. But this particular one we're talking about is politics. Would you say there was no element of greed involved? When these governors and when these politicians say, oh, I want to join the ruling party, when the PDP was in power, weren't there people moving from other parties to the ruling party because they believed that the PDP was holding it down?
It wasn't to this extent. Chioma, it was never. In fact, at least they came over to PDP on their own willingly. Not when you were inducing them, not when you were intimidating them, not when you are threatening them. PDP never go this far now. People came to PDP.
Where is the proof of threat?
Oh,
where is the proof that these people were being threatened to join the ruling party?
What is the strategy?
Where is the proof that they are being what's the word now? That they are being pushed, they are being threatened, or they are being intimidated to join the ruling party. Where is the proof? Or are we just saying it for saying sake because it makes conversations interesting? It adds pepper and salt to the conversation. Let's be realistic, because Nigerians need to know if these people are doing these things in order to make sure that life is better for them. So when they say we are doing this for our people, all I want to see is where they attract that development to their people.
You are taking my time to answer you. Don't worry. You have asked me a question. Let me answer you.
Go ahead.
I hope you'll be ready to listen to me.
I'm listening to you.
Let's start from River State.
Okay.
Please, was there any reason for state of emergency in River State?
We are talking about a gale of defections here.
That is not what, at the end of the day, what happened? Didn't Fubara defect to APC?
You believe he did that because he didn't have a choice?
Is that what?
You believe he did that because he did not have a choice. He just has to align with the APC so he can have a peaceful term as governor of the state, right?
Hold on, no. Why do you think a state of emergency was declared in River State where there was no reason? I think no reason. Meanwhile, in a place where there is actual terrorism, actual chaos, he did not bother to declare state of emergency. At the end of the day, what happened in River State? Have they not taken River State now? Is Fubara not in APC? That is one. Two, why is Wike doing what he's doing? Who is behind him? Who gave him the impetus to be doing what he's doing? And why was he not called to order? And today, PDP is no more. He even told them that the only reason for peace in PDP is that they should not bring up a presidential candidate. Today, where is PDP? Chioma, you were asking question, no? Oh yeah, it's not my own turn. Are you still asking question?
I'm the interviewer here, Barrister Darlington. You are the one who have to answer my question.
I am giving you answer. I told you to be ready for the answer.
You have to go state by state, right? Because if you want to start with the first few people to defect from the PDP to APC, we will go back to, was it February or March, when the whole structure of the Delta state government defected to the APC. I said Sheriff Oborowori, the state governor, the former state governor, Ifeanyi Okonwa also defected. Everybody is defecting.
Hold on.
We are not just looking at state of emergency here, Barrister Darlington. Let's hit the nail on the head, right? Why do these people defect? They say it is to attract development to their people, right? But then they get to the APC and we are still not seeing that development. You claim, alongside the PDP and Obedient Movement and others, that, the ruling party is intimidating them to join. And I ask the question, where is the proof of that intimidation?
Are you not? The examples I gave you is not enough, Abi.
Okay, the situation in Rivers State is an example of intimidation. What about in Delta State?
That's what happened.
Where Sheriff Oborowori, the current state governor, former governor Ifeanyi Okonwa, the whole PDP structure, the whole government structure of the state defected. What was the intimidation that prompted that?
You want them to come out in the open and tell you, Abi? Hold on, no. You didn't know what happened in Delta State. Was it not Okowa who was accused of 1.3 trillion naira, whatever?
The EFCC says him being a member of the APC will not stop his probe.
Really? What happened? Since that time, have you had any of the... when did he go to the court last to defend himself on that case? Please tell me. When last did you hear that Okowa went to court because of that allegation? Can you tell me? You can see now. When Oshobolo told you that if you come to APC, your sins are forgiven.
He has since said that he was misunderstood.
Look, what he said is not important. Yeah, we are looking at the action. Action speak louder than words. Mention anybody that ran into APC that they are harassing. Tell me one person that went into APC that they are harassing now. Tell me, mention the person. Oh yeah. Just mention the person. You can see now. Chioma, your argument has no basis here. You cannot defend this government and what they are doing.
That's the problem. You do not understand that. I don't have a dog in this fight, right?
Hey,
I do not have a dog in this fight. So I'm asking that you can shed light, right? We want to educate the people. No problem. I've heard you. No problem. I've heard you. But at the end of the day, you know that these things you're saying, they are your opinions. People who have defected to the APC, they are there, they're enjoying their lives. And ordinary Nigerians who they say they defected for are not enjoying their own lives.
Chioma, you go to places where things are happening. Whenever you are running into a place, it's because of what you are seeing there, the performance, the progressive nature of that party and some things like that. Is that not true? Mention one good reason why these people are jumping into APC. Is it that APC government, since they came into office in 2015, they have been doing wonders in Nigeria?
They may see everything that's been happening as wonders, but still on defections, because we need to go. I've been warned we have just 1 minute before I let you go. Still on defections, right? Peter Obi is defected to is joining the ADC. You know, Satanko says he will be doing that in Enugu State, and it's a strategic decision as Enugu State is a historical capital of the Southeast. Alex Oti, Abia State Governor, says he will not be joining Peter Obi in the ADC. He will remain a member of the Labour Party in order to try to shape up the party ahead of 2027 polls. Let's get your thoughts on that for about 1 minute.
Let him declare first. I've told you, everybody who cares to listen, that I'm not talking about Peter Obi for now. So let him declare.
Why is that though?
Because of what has happened in the past. I made it clear. I've said it severally that I'm no longer interested in talking about Peter Obi. I have talked enough. And I know what I receive in return. So let him declare first.
You know, you shouldn't be scared of criticism.
No, oh, God, don't say that. On principle. Scared of what? Who is that person that will threaten me?
No, it's not threat. It's criticism. So, not everybody will be happy with what you say.
I even want it. All I'm saying that when you want to come with superior and a more intelligent argument and criticism. Yes, but not when you want to insult yourself. You begin to talk anyhow. I'm not interested in that. So let it to be declared. Then I will now say what I want to say and ask the questions I needed to ask. It's as simple as that.
All right, then. So you'll be holding that thought in your pocket until you see what happens after his defection.
Yeah, is it not today, Abi?
Thank you.
So
Thank you for joining us on the Midday News, Barrister Darlington Akomo. I appreciate your presence and your analysis. You're still watching the Midday News on Voice of the People television. When we return, a Basaki family backs Pedro's legal action over assault. Stay with us for these and more stories right after the break.
From the views on the street,
we go to bed empty hunger,
to the blaring horns of a hustling city, the loudest voices of the common man got a medium to be heard.
This particular administration, they were coming unprepared.
It's not a bad thing to renovate the president's lodge.
Through top-notch programming, unbiased reportage of news, sports, business, entertainment, and cultural documentaries, Voice of the People 90.3 FM became a symbol for 21st century media. And now, a new baby is born. Voice of the People Television, VOP TV, youthful, full of vigor and penchant for excellence in the continent's media space, exposing the wrongs, applauding the rights, dissecting the news without fear or favor, through factual and accurate stories and contents.
Corruption kills three things that makes a society.
Representing the interests of the people and giving them a voice. Voice of the People TV is here to stay towards building a fair society. VOP TV, Voice of the People Television, truly a voice for the people.
Welcome back. The Obaseki family of Benin City in Edo State have backed the decision of the former managing director of Dar Communications, Dr. Pedro Obaseki, to seek legal redress over the humiliation he suffered on Sunday. A mob had stripped Obaseki at the Uwa Primary School football field in Benin over alleged disrespect to the Oba of Benin. In a viral video on social media, he was stripped naked, intimidated and forcefully taken to the palace where the chiefs took him in before further actions. Addressing newsmen, the Okaigbe of the Obaseki family worldwide, Daniel Obaseki, condemned the manner in which Pedro was beaten, stating that no father, mother, brother, sister or person of good conscience can witness such sordid humiliation of a son of Benin without being profoundly shaken. He described the victim as a respected professional, cultural ambassador, and member of a frontline noble family. On behalf of the family, he condemned the incident as barbaric, shameful, and a gross violation of his fundamental human right. According to him, the family deliberately delayed their reaction to properly digest the bizarre incident and await the response of constituted authorities. In the meantime, reactions continue to trail the recent United States strikes on alleged ISIL targets in northwest Nigeria. While the federal government described the operation as a joint effort to curb terrorism, citizens have expressed mixed reactions to the development. VPTV's Matthew Ogunswada reports.
Military involved. Then Donald Trump announced targeted airstrikes against Islamic State-linked groups operating in Nigeria's northwest, particularly in Sokoto State. The announcement was made on Christmas evening via social media, although details of the damage remain unclear. U.S. defense officials confirmed the strikes were carried out in coordination with the Nigerian government. In response, Nigeria's Ministry of Foreign Affairs says the operation involved intelligence sharing and strategic planning with full respect for Nigeria's sovereignty and international law. Foreign Affairs Minister Yusuf Tugar confirmed that President Bola Tinubu approved the joint operation, stressing that strikes are not targeted at any religion, emphasizing Nigeria's commitment as a multi-religious nation working with international partners to combat terrorism and protect lives and property. As Voice of the People TV, we spoke with Nigerians to get their views on this latest development and the growing international role in Nigeria's fight against terrorism.
Christmas gift that Trump gave us should continue. We want more strikes on these terrorists because when we are able to decimate these terrorists and Nigeria is secure, then everybody can go about their normal lawful work and then the country can grow. Because it's when you work that you pay tax and then the country grows.
Nigeria should be able to defend herself and protect her people, and I believe she is, right? But we're not seeing that happen, and people are dying, and something needs to be done. So if we have someone from the external, a foreign country, coming to help us to tackle that problem, I think it's good. So you might argue and say this, but the truth is, at the end of the day, people are dying and people need to be saved. And if somebody's going to help us do what we can't do for ourselves, then let's have it.
If you are talking of not years back, that is like you are talking of paradise years back. But now, it's so scary. So scary. You cannot go to North now. Many people want to go and invest in the North. They could not because of insecurity. Yes. So we urge our leaders to put more effort to bring the peace and to stop the terrorists attacking people that are going for businesses in the North.
As Nigeria continues its fight against terrorism, many citizens say lasting peace will depend not only on foreign support, but on effective governance, security reforms, and the protection of all communities. Matthew Ogunswada, reporting for Voice of the People Television.
Many thanks to Matthew for that report. We take you straight into the world of business, where the Central Bank of Nigeria has projected the country's external reserves to climb to $51.04 billion in 2026, up from $45 billion in 2025. According to the CBN's 2026 macroeconomic outlook for Nigeria, published on Tuesday, the external reserves are expected to be boosted by reduced pressure in the foreign exchange market based on the anticipated rise in oil earnings, sovereign bond issuance, and diaspora remittance inflows. The report stated that Dangote Refinery's expansion of its nameplate capacity to 700,000 barrels per day from 650,000 barrels per day in 2025 and eventually to be 1.4 million barrels per day in the medium term would further support the growth in external reserves. It noted that reforms in the FX market are expected to further enhance efficiency and transparency, narrow the premium between the Nigerian foreign exchange market and Bureau de change rate, and sustain exchange rate stability. On inflation, the CBN anticipates that headline inflation will decelerate further to 12.94% in 2026, driven by a combination of factors, and is expected to come down to 10.75% in 2027. Now on to sports. The Nigerian Boxing Federation and the National Sports Commission have sympathized with world boxing star Anthony Joshua and the families of the victims of the fatal road accident on the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway. In the accident were Joshua's strength and conditioning coach, Sina Gami, and his personal trainer, Kevin Ayodele, who unfortunately lost their lives. In a condolence message on behalf of the Nigerian boxing community, NBC President and Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Wale Edun, said the incident was deeply distressing. Noting that the loss of life is always deeply distressing, Edun said the boxing community prays for Joshua's speedy recovery and that the souls of the departed may rest in peace. Similarly, Director General of the NSC, Bukola Olopade, conveyed the Commission's sympathy to Joshua and the families of the deceased. Visiting Joshua on behalf of the NSC Chairman, Shehu Diko, and the entire staff, Olopade described the incident as tragic and heartbreaking, but thank God for Joshua's survival. And finally, entertainment. Curators of the Enugu New Yam Festival 2025 Heritage and Culture Africa have described the activities marking its grand finale as a world-class cultural spectacle that combines tradition, music, and modern production to showcase African heritage. Speaking on the Iriji or New Yam Festival, which marked the end of the harvest season, the curator said it was conceived to celebrate unity, abundance, and cultural pride while creating opportunities for the younger generations to connect with, preserve, and reinterpret African heritage. In a statement, the curator said the festival demonstrated that culture thrives when it evolves in ways that resonate with today's youth, feature large-scale stage architecture, high-definition LED visuals, and performances that seamlessly blended cultural storytelling with contemporary music. And that's it on the Midday News. Thank you for watching. My name is Chioma Innocent. Do stay tuned. Spotlight with Precious Agmanu comes up shortly.